everyone, and welcome back to Speak Your Flow, the podcast where we help you unlock your true potential in English communication. I'm your host, Michael, and today we have a very special episode for you. Communication isn't just about knowing grammar rules or memorizing vocabulary. It's about connecting with people, expressing your ideas clearly, and feeling confident in any situation. Whether you're preparing for a job interview, giving a presentation, or simply having a conversation with a friend, strong communication skills can transform your life. Today, I'm thrilled to have with us an incredible English educator who has helped thousands of students find their voice. Please welcome Olivia.
Thank you so much, Michael. It's wonderful to be here. I'm excited to share some practical strategies with your audience today.
Olivia, let's dive right in. Many of our listeners feel stuck. They've studied English for years, they know the grammar, but when it comes to actually speaking, they freeze. What's really happening here?
That's such an important question, Michael. What you're describing is what I call the knowledge performance gap. You see, learning English and communicating in English are two very different skills. It's like learning to swim by reading a book. You might understand the theory perfectly, but the moment you jump in the water, you realize theory and practice are worlds apart.
That's a brilliant analogy. So what creates this gap?
There are three main culprits. First, there's the fear of making mistakes. Many learners are perfectionists. They want every sentence to be grammatically flawless, every word to be pronounced perfectly. This creates anxiety, and anxiety blocks fluency. Second, there's a lack of real-world practice. Textbook English and conversational English are two different beasts. In real conversations, people use idioms, they interrupt, they speak quickly, and they don't always follow the rules we learned in school. And third, there's insufficient active output. Most learners spend 80% of their time on passive skills, like reading and listening, but only 20% on active skills, like speaking and writing. To truly improve communication, we need to flip that ratio.
So it's not about studying harder, it's about practicing smarter. I love that. Let's get practical. What's the first step someone should take today to start improving their English communication?
The first step is what I call removing the perfection filter. Give yourself permission to make mistakes. Native speakers make mistakes all the time. They use incorrect grammar, they mispronounce words, they forget vocabulary, but they keep speaking, and that's the key. I tell my students to adopt a growth mindset. Every mistake is a learning opportunity. When you stumble over a word or mix up your tenses, you're not failing, you're practicing. Your brain is building new neural pathways.
I want to talk about what I call the 4 pillars of effective communication: clarity, confidence, connection, and consistency. Olivia, let's break these down. Starting with clarity, how can someone express their ideas more clearly in English?
Clarity begins with simplicity. Many learners think they need to use complex vocabulary and long sentences to sound intelligent. Actually, the opposite is true. The most effective communicators use simple language to express complex ideas. Here's a practical technique, the sandwich method. Start with your main point, add supporting details in the middle, and finish by restating your main point. For example, instead of rambling through a long explanation, you might say, I believe remote work is beneficial. It increases productivity and improves work-life balance. That's why I support remote work policies. See how clear that is?
Crystal clear. And what about confidence? Many of our listeners tell me they know what they want to say, but their voice shakes or they speak too quietly.
Confidence in communication has two components, inner confidence and outer confidence. Inner confidence comes from preparation and practice. The more you practice speaking English in low-pressure situations, the more confident you'll feel in high-pressure ones. Outer confidence is about body language and vocal delivery. Here's an exercise everyone can try right now. Stand up straight, take a deep breath, and speak from your diaphragm rather than your throat. This naturally projects your voice and makes you sound more authoritative. Also, make eye contact. Even if you're nervous, maintaining eye contact creates connection and shows confidence.
I'm gonna try that breathing technique myself. Now, let's talk about connection. This is where communication becomes truly powerful, isn't it?
Absolutely. Communication isn't a one-way street. It's a dialogue. Connection means really listening to the other person, not just waiting for your turn to speak. In English, we call this active listening. Here's how to practice active listening. First, give the speaker your full attention. Put away your phone. Second, show you're engaged through nonverbal cues like nodding or saying, mm-hmm. Third, paraphrase what they said to confirm understanding. So, what you're saying is, or if I understand correctly, this shows respect and ensures you're on the same page.
And that brings us to the fourth pillar, consistency. Olivia, I think this is where most people struggle. They're motivated for a week, maybe a month, but then they stop practicing.
You're right, Michael. Consistency is the secret ingredient that separates those who improve from those who plateau. The good news is you don't need to practice for hours every day. Even 15 minutes of focused practice daily is more effective than a 3-hour session once a week. Create what I call micro-practice moments. Describe your morning routine out loud in English. Have an imaginary conversation while you're in the shower. Read the news and summarize each article in your own words. These small, consistent actions compound over time and lead to major improvements.
Let's give our listeners some concrete exercises they can start using today. Olivia, what's your number one technique for improving speaking skills?
My favorite technique is what I call shadowing. This is where you listen to a native speaker, perhaps a podcast, a TED Talk, or a YouTube video, and you repeat what they say immediately after them, trying to match their pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation. Start with short clips, maybe 30 seconds to a minute. Listen once, then play it again and shadow it. Do this 5 times. You'll notice that by the 5th repetition, you're matching the native speaker much more closely. This technique trains your mouth muscles and your ears simultaneously.
I've used shadowing myself, and it's incredibly effective. What about expanding vocabulary? Many people feel limited by their word choice.
Here's the thing about vocabulary. You don't need to know 20,000 words to communicate effectively. Research shows that the 1,000 most common English words make up about 85% of everyday conversation. Instead of memorizing random word lists, I recommend learning vocabulary in context through lexical chunks. These are word combinations that naturally go together. For example, instead of just learning the word make, learn common phrases like make a decision, make progress, make sense, and make a difference. Also, use the 3 context rule. When you learn a new word, use it in 3 different sentences in 3 different contexts within 24 hours. This moves the word from your passive vocabulary to your active vocabulary.
That's brilliant. And what about pronunciation? This is something many learners worry about constantly.
Pronunciation is important, but accent is not. You don't need to sound like a native speaker from London or New York. What matters is intelligibility. Can people understand you? Focus on these key elements: word stress, sentence rhythm, and intonation patterns. English is a stress-timed language, which means we stress certain syllables and words while others are reduced. For example, in the sentence, I want to go to the store, native speakers actually say something like, I want to go to the store. Understanding this rhythm is crucial. Here's a practical exercise. Record yourself reading a paragraph, then listen to a native speaker read the same paragraph. Compare the two. Where are the differences? This awareness is the first step toward improvement.
And for our listeners who want to improve their writing skills as well,
Writing and speaking actually reinforce each other beautifully. For writing, I recommend the daily journal technique. Write for 10 minutes every day about anything, your day, your thoughts, your goals. Don't worry about mistakes, just write. Then, once a week, take one of your journal entries and edit it carefully. Look up words you weren't sure about, check your grammar, and rewrite it. Over time, you'll notice the quality of your first drafts improving because you're developing an intuitive sense of what sounds right.
Olivia, let's address some common challenges. First, what about people who feel embarrassed about their accent or their mistakes?
I always tell my students, your accent is part of your identity. It tells a story about where you're from and the languages you speak. That's something to be proud of, not ashamed of. The world speaks English in many different accents. Indian English, Singapore English, Nigerian English, Mexican English, they're all valid. What matters is clear communication, not sounding like you're from California or Cambridge. As for mistakes, here's a mindset shift that changed everything for my students. Mistakes are proof that you're learning. If you're not making mistakes, you're not pushing yourself hard enough. Native speakers will respect your effort to speak their language, even if it's imperfect.
What about people who don't have anyone to practice with? Not everyone has access to native speakers or conversation partners.
That's a common concern, but technology has given us so many solutions. You can use language exchange apps to find conversation partners worldwide. You can join online English discussion groups or forums. You can even talk to AI chatbots for practice. But here's something many people don't realize. You don't actually need another person to practice speaking. Talk to yourself. Narrate your actions throughout the day in English. Have conversations with imaginary people. This might feel strange at first, but it's incredibly effective for building fluency. Also, consume English content actively rather than passively. Instead of just watching a movie, pause occasionally and predict what a character will say next. Instead of just reading an article, summarize each paragraph out loud.
Those are such practical solutions. Now, what about the fear of public speaking or giving presentations in English? This terrifies many people.
Public speaking anxiety is completely normal, even for native speakers. The key is preparation and reframing your mindset. First, prepare thoroughly. Know your material so well that you could present it in your sleep. Practice in front of a mirror, record yourself, and if possible, do a trial run for a friend. Second, reframe the experience. Instead of thinking, everyone is judging me, think, I have valuable information to share and people want to hear it. You're not performing, you're communicating. Third, use the power pose technique before you present. Research shows that standing in a confident pose for 2 minutes before a high-pressure situation actually changes your hormone levels and reduces anxiety. And remember, even if you stumble or forget a word during your presentation, your audience is usually much more forgiving than you imagine. Often they don't even notice the mistakes you think are glaring.
Olivia, this has been absolutely incredible. Before we wrap up, I'd love for you to give our listeners a 30-day action plan. If someone starts today, what should they do?
I love this question. Here's your 30-day roadmap to better English communication. Week 1, Foundation. Day 1 to 7, practice 15 minutes of shadowing daily. Choose content you enjoy, a favorite TV show, podcast, or YouTube channel. Start a daily 10-minute journal in English. Learn 3 new lexical chunks per day and use them in sentences. Week 2, active practice. Day 8 to 14, find a language exchange partner or join an online English conversation group. Record yourself speaking for 5 minutes on a topic you're passionate about. Listen back and identify 3 areas to improve. Practice the think in English technique. Try to form your thoughts in English before translating from your native language. Week 3, challenge yourself. Day 15 to 21, give a 5-minute presentation to yourself. Record it on any topic. Engage in a debate or discussion in an online forum. Watch English content without subtitles and summarize what you learned. Week 4, integration. Day 22 to 30, focus on using English in real-world situations. Order food in English, write emails in English, or make phone calls in English. Reflect on your progress. Listen to your Week 2 recording and compare it to a new recording. Celebrate your improvements.
That's an amazing roadmap. And what final words of encouragement would you give to someone who's feeling discouraged about their English communication skills?
I want everyone listening to remember this. Fluency is not a destination, it's a journey. You will never reach a point where you know everything about English communication. Even native speakers are constantly learning and improving. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate small victories. Did you successfully order coffee in English today? That's progress. Did you understand a joke in an English movie? That's progress. Did you have a 5-minute conversation without switching to your native language? That's amazing progress. The most important thing is to start. Don't wait until you feel ready, because you'll never feel completely ready. Start today, even if it's just describing what you had for breakfast out loud in English. Every small step adds up. And remember, millions of people around the world are on this same journey with you. You're not alone. Keep speaking, keep practicing, and most importantly, keep believing in yourself.
Olivia, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today. This conversation has been truly enlightening.
Thank you for having me, Michael. It's been a pleasure, and I hope your listeners found this helpful.
And to all of you listening, thank you for being part of the Speak Your Flow community. Remember, every conversation is an opportunity to grow. Don't let fear hold you back from expressing yourself. If you found this episode valuable, please subscribe to our channel, leave a comment sharing your biggest takeaway, and share this with someone who's working on their English communication skills. Until next time, keep practicing, keep improving, and most importantly, speak your flow.